At the start of this year, I restarted my prop firm journey with only $400. And the goal was to just see if I could make enough to not live paycheck to paycheck. And very quickly, things start to happen. One payout became two, two payouts became three, and the momentum took over and it got so crazy that I even made six figures in a single payout and had my first ever six-figure month. And that allowed me to actually make over 200,000 this year in prop firm payouts alone, which is absolutely crazy and blows my mind when I think about it sometimes, because it goes to show the power of how something can start off small and turn into something big. But just as much as there were highs, there were also lows. And that's why in this video, I'm going to share with you everything I've learned about prop firms so far. I'm going to share with you what works with prop firms, what doesn't work. So hopefully you can have your first payout, your first 5 figures in payouts, heck, your even first 6 figures in payouts, or even your first 7 figures in payouts, because the sky ain't even the limit with these prop firms. But you have to do things the right way. So if you're serious about changing the trajectory of your life with prop firms, be sure to stick around and watch this video all the way through to the end. All right, so the first lesson that I learned about prop firms, and it's not really a lesson in terms of like do this, do that, but it's one that's going to set the tone for the progression of this video, and it's one that's going to give you the motivation that you actually need to be able to realize that you can actually crush it with prop firms, right? Is that there is no bigger opportunity than prop firms that's ever been in the history of trading. There is nowhere in the history of trading where you could have told me that someone could literally start off with a couple $100 and be able to turn that into 5 figures in payouts, 6 figures in payouts, and even 7 figures in payouts. The opportunity is massive. It is literally massive. There has never been anything like this, and I need you guys to really understand the opportunity that's at hand here, because you need to take advantage of it by doing things the right way. There's never been anything like this before. All we had when I started trading back in 2016, right, we had the flipping account culture where people were trying to flip $100 to $1,000 on a live account, and that never worked out for 99% of people. But prop firms now give you the opportunity, but you also need to take that with a grain of salt, because just as much as there is this law of that you can turn a small amount of money into a lot of money with prop firms, the game is designed for you to believe that, and the game is designed for you to screw you. There is a gamified element to trading prop firms that is not spoken about enough, that people need to understand that the game is rigged and it's not built for you to win. The rules they're set in place, everything that's been put in these challenges, and every step and every single thing that you might even think has been thought out, I promise you, has been carefully designed to psychologically fuck you and psychologically trip you, so you most likely blow your account and increase the chance of you failing. And we actually need to learn and adapt and build a system that gives us an edge over the rules. And one of the things that I learned when it came to prop firms this year was that the challenge phase is bullshit. You know, a lot of people try to slow down the challenge phase. I don't believe in slowing down the challenge phase because it doesn't have a net positive return on you. So the longer you stay in the challenge phase, you develop what I call challenge fatigue. And if you develop challenge fatigue, that means that the longer you stay in the challenge phase, the high likely that you're actually gonna fail that challenge, because a lot of psychological pressure is gonna fall on you. And then the more psychological pressure you have to perform, you're gonna see that you're actually gonna increase the chance of your failing. So that's one of the things I actually realize, that hang on, no, fuck this whole trying to slow down the challenge phase. And that's what these prop firms push. They tell you to slow down, take your time. Oh no, ride it out, it's such a nice slow. No, screw that. We want to do things in our way that benefits us. So if you can find a system and a model that actually benefits you, allows you to go through the challenge phase as quickly as possible whilst maintaining a degree of risk as possible, that's what you want to adopt, and that's what you actually want to use in order to get through the challenge phase fairly quickly. And that kind of segues into the next point quite nicely, because just as much as you can pass prop firms and then you can get funded and then you can potentially make payouts, I see a lot of people where they go wrong with prop firms, and what I've learned and what I've seen just from, you know, passing challenges, getting funded, and then getting payouts, that a lot of people like to marry their funded accounts. They get emotionally attached to funded accounts. One thing I realized about prop firms is that blowing accounts, it's normal, it's happened. The game is designed for you to blow accounts. If you blow an account, don't be so emotionally invested and don't be so emotionally hurt by blowing an account. Just treat it as cost of doing business and just keep moving, because if you start getting emotionally invested into funded accounts, I promise you it's actually going to hurt you in the long term. Because if you get fixated and you're like, oh no, I blew my funded account, it hurts so much. Yes, I understand it hurts. Nothing hurts more than losing a funded account, right? It happens. But if you get emotionally invested and you get emotionally tied to that, when you next go into the next challenge, you're going to be thinking about that funded account, and you're going to be trying to get back to where you was, and that's actually going to increase the chance of you actually failing, because you're going to have so much dependency and so much pressure on that next challenge. Look at this whole prop firm game as an ROI game. Look at it this way: if I can put $200 into challenges and I'm able to make $1,000 out of the challenges, I've had a profitable run. Even if I blew 3 accounts to be able to make that $1,000, it's been a profitable run. Emotionally detach yourself from the funded accounts, and they'll actually allow you to perform better, and actually allow you to be able to maximize the payouts on those accounts. Because the moment you actually bring emotion and you become emotionally attached to these accounts, that's when you're going to see the biggest fuck ups are going to happen. You're going to start blowing more accounts than you need because you're emotionally attached to them. Treat it as a cost of doing business and keep it moving. Because one thing you're going to have to realize is that you will tilt when you're trading prop firms. Like, you will tilt. I don't care how much of a great trader you think you are. I don't care how sick you think you are. When you're trading these prop firms, you are going to tilt. It's going to happen. So don't think that, oh no, it means you're a terrible trader. No, the game is designed for you to tilt, and you will tilt. But the most important thing is that when you tilt, it's about learning the behaviors that led up to you tilting, and then being able to control those behaviors in the future to be able to reduce the likelihood of you tilting. Because tilting is going to happen. You're going to go into the markets in a bad mental state, and then you're going to tilt, and then you're going to eventually you're going to blow account. It's going to happen. But it's about paying attention to what's happening before the tilt, and then being aware of those triggers and being aware of those processes, and then being able to control those. That's what's going to allow you to actually prevent tilting when tilting will most likely happen. And if you can do that, and if you're going to master that process of, I know I'm about to tilt here, I need to walk away, you're going to see the longevity of you actually keeping a funded account is going to increase, because tilting is happening. I don't know what is this, like they've built in this tilt mode into these prop firms, but it happens. Traders tilt all the time. I've tilted. Hey, tilting is normal. I don't know why a lot of people say, oh no, he's shit trader because he tilted. No, it's just what it is in this game, and in this space of prop firms. Is just, you're going to tilt. Deal with it, develop a process around it. And one of the ways I did that this year, when I was in this 6-figure journey with prop firms, I started paying myself as quickly as possible, as soon as I could. And that was one of the biggest difference in terms of actually relieving the emotional dependency on funded accounts. And I know a lot of traders might think that, okay, no, I'll get funded now, I need to make as much money as possible. No, that's where you go wrong. First, pay yourself as the trader. Give yourself the money back that you're spending to actually go into the cost of actually getting these challenges and getting funded. Once you pay yourself that money, now the emotional dependency you have on that funded account, think about it, that's going to drop so much, and you're actually going to be less emotionally tied into that account because you've already made your money back. So the ability to be able to actually weather drawdown, to the ability to be able to actually see your equity curve go up and down when you're trading that funded account is actually going to have less effect on you because you're not as emotionally attached. So learn to pay yourself. Don't think, I can to scale this from the jump without paying myself and now pay myself later. No, pay yourself first and then think about scaling after, because what hurts is if you try growing a account, you're growing, and you haven't paid yourself, and then you blow account. That's what's going to hurt, and that's what's going to trigger you into actually making worse decisions when you next get funded or when you next trying to pass challenges, and then you're going to see that's going to increase the chances of you actually failing. But more importantly, actually I should have even said that before telling you to pay yourself, is that it's important and it's imperative that you reduce your risk as you go into that funded phase. It's better to be moderate risk and reduce your risk as you go, and as you scale, that's when you increase your risk. And as you scale your buffer and you scale your account size, that's when you increase your risk. But initially there's no need to go over leveraging because it never turns out right. Slow down and scale. It's all about starting slow and building up, and then capitalizing on winning trades. And the more you can do that, the more you're going to see your X curve keep on climbing, and it's just going to be a beautiful thing. And once you slow down and you're actually locking in and reduce your risk, you're going to see that you're going to actually start getting a net positive return, and you're actually going to start getting payouts, and you're going to start making more money in payouts than what you're actually spending on challenges. And then that's how you're going to build and grow this. But you need to also understand that the more money you're going to start making, guys, you need to be aware of actually spending too much money on challenges. So once you start getting these payouts coming in, don't lose the awareness of how valuable the money is. Because I saw myself when I went in this run this year, when I had made like 6 figures this year, right? I didn't really care about how much I was like spending on challenges. I had to really step back, like, whoa, this could easily turn into a cycle of, okay, I'm just spending money on challenges. I'm not really caring about challenges anymore, because remember, a challenge is a potential to actually make money. So once you start losing this because you are making money, it can turn into slippery slope, always remember that this is real money that's going into the bank. If you have to look at it and be like, oh shit, this is real money, go to the bank, pull it out and be like, have it there, be like, this is real money that I'm making. Because it almost feels like, you know, when you're in the casino and you're like playing roulette and they give you those chips, right? And then you just put the money on the numbers. You don't even know how much money you're putting on the numbers sometimes because the chips are just chips. It's like one of those mental frameworks when it comes to prop from payouts as well. Just realize that it is real money and you're using real money. Treat everything as a business and as a process. And I promise you, if you guys can really lock in on that, you're going to be able to see that the more you reduce your emotional dependency, the more you're actually going to be able to have success with prop firms. Because again, this is one of the biggest opportunity there is within the trading space. You have to be intentional with your approach to prop firms. That's how you're going to be able to develop the edge to actually beat these guys and actually make money. And that's the most important thing, is about developing an edge and actually beating them at their own game. So lock in on a few prop firms. If you're going to lock in on a few prop firms, you know, Apex, My Fund, Futures, Tradify, links in the description, whatever you need to do, lock in on them. If you need a more systematic way of actually attacking prop firms and knowing how to get through the challenging phase and how to deal within the thunder phase, I'm going to link a video right there. I highly recommend you go watch that video. But the main point is that you have to be intentional with your approach to prop firms. Remember the mission, remember the goals every step of the way. If your goal is to become financially free, if your goal is to be able to change your financial situation, be intentional with your approach to prop firms, and you have to be intentional about everything you do. Everything matters. Don't think that, oh yeah, because one person is doing this, so you can do it that way. No, think about yourself and how you apply yourself, and think about developing the best edge for you, because everything matters. You have to be intentional with prop firms, and that's how you're going to see the most successful prop firms. So hope you guys found a lot of value in this video. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.